Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we got a battle of the two sidekicks gone wrong. We got the Winter Soldier going up against Red Hood. Now, I've heard a lot of people say Winter Soldier versus Nightwing as a fight they'd like to see. Not for my show, but like for other versus shows, and I honestly completely understand that. You know, they're like the two main sidekicks of Batman and Captain America. Well, technically, Nightwing's not really the sidekick, he's his own hero, but you know what I mean. They're like the grown-up sidekicks of those two heroes, and that's perfectly fine. What I really like about this fight, though, is that these are like the sidekicks gone wrong, as I've said before. Like, they were good guys. You know, you have like Robin, Jason Todd, and Bucky Barnes, and then you have Bucky Barnes is brainwashed, and Jason Todd fell into the Lazarus pits, or that's one of the stories you might want to go with. And then, yeah, they just became bad guys, and now they've kind of changed back. Well, more so Winter Soldier than Red Hood, because Red Hood's kind of more an anti-hero now, but you guys get the picture, you know. They're both the sidekicks that have gone wrong, that turned bad, and now I'm here to analyze to see which one, in my opinion, would win in a fight in a one-on-one encounter. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out. So first I'm going to talk about the Winter Soldier. Now, the Winter Soldier is an extremely skilled fighter and has fought many different masters of combat. He has fought Captain America in the past. He knows he knows a lot of martial arts. He hasn't mastered really any of them. He might have mastered like maybe a few, but he has been said to be not as skilled as Captain America, although Captain America, he's said to be close, and Captain America is still pretty skilled. Remember, he's adept in pretty much every martial art known to man, including like ninjutsu, boxing, taekwondo, all of the good stuff, you know. So if he's near his level, that's some pretty hardcore fighting skill you got right there. And he's also fought many other masters of combat, including Crossbones, Wolverine, Daredevil, Elektra, many other masters of combat, even Black Widow, and we know how tough she is, you know. She's extremely hardcore when it comes to this kind of stuff. So yeah, he's an extreme master of combat, like not completely, not to the level of like Batman or anything like that, but still, he's still an extremely good fighter, and he's a deadly assassin. When it comes to what he carries, he does carry some different guns with him, including a handgun, a very powerful handgun actually, and also some RPGs, a sniper rifle, you know, all that good stuff. He does carry a lot of guns, and he does obviously have a lot of ammo with him, and also just for assassin's sake, he does also carry a knife, in case he has to get like really close. But what he also uses when he's really close, and this is the deadliest thing in his arsenal, arguably, is his bionic arm. Now, his bionic arm is extremely powerful. Generally, when it comes to how physical, like how strong Bucky usually is, he's said to be at peak physical condition. So not to the level of super soldier, but still almost peak physical perfection. So that's still amazing, like amazing strength for a regular person. But the bionic arm takes that strength up to the next level, far beyond that of Captain America. Basically, what this metal arm can do is it can punch through metal, and it can also throw Captain America's shield so hard and so fast that it's actually able to slice through the limbs of a regular person. Now, I know that Captain America's shield is already made out of proto-adamantium, which is like the strongest thing in the Marvel Universe, if I'm not mistaken. But still, just to throw that shield with that power and that much like force, you know, the power and the speed in order to do that is still something that you really have to consider. That arm is extremely tough. It's also very good at disguising itself as a metal arm. Not only has it sometimes been outfitted to look like a regular arm and is actually pretty convincing, but it's also been able to get through metal detectors without being detected. And honestly, that means that that's a really good job of hiding a metal arm, if you ask me. But yeah, his metal arm, he only has one metal arm. He doesn't have two. His other one, he just, you know, it's just a regular arm. Like I said, generally, with the other arm, his strength is, like almost peak physical condition, you know, which is still amazing for a regular person. The same goes with his agility and his speed, and pretty much everything like that is durability. When it comes to his armor, he does wear a bulletproof set of armor. It doesn't cover everything, but it's still extremely handy when not getting shot or stabbed or anything like that. It is still extremely durable, and he can still use it, you know, he can still run with it, so it's not all too heavy, or at least it doesn't restrain him all that much. So yeah, like I said, he's an assassin, he's a fighter, you know, he does carry guns, he does carry a knife, and he does carry his freaking, like, bionic arm, and he has been able to, go toe-to-toe with Captain America and actually fight him to a standstill, even though he has been said to not be quite as what's the word? He hasn't been shown to be quite as good a fighter as him, but he's also been able to fight against other characters, including Iron Man, by using his surrounding environment to his advantage. Here's one of the funniest things I actually read. Apparently, Winter Soldier was able to actually kind of like nullify Wolverine's senses, like his smelling senses, by doing something to the area. I think it was like, I don't know, I'm probably butchering this, but he like almost like having something to do with like making it smell like oil or something like that. And then he also made himself smell like oil, which pretty much meant that Wolverine couldn't detect him. So yeah, this guy is very intelligent. He's multilingual, but he's also very intelligent, and he knows how to use his area to his advantage. That being said, though, he also likes to scope out his victims sometime to like figure out what their weakness is, and he sometimes does need prep in order to do some of the better things like that. You know, he needs to lure Wolverine where he needs to go. But still, this guy's an extremely talented and, well, maybe talented is not the right word, but an extremely skilled fighter and assassin, and he does have the physical stats, like amazing physical stats of a regular person, and he can, I believe, like when it comes to stamina, he can push himself harder than an Olympic athlete, which does kind of question if he actually is a super soldier or not. Frankly, still, I wouldn't put him as the super soldier level, but he is still extremely strong, fast, durable, and he does have a lot of weapons and armor with him in order to keep going. And, you know, Winter Soldier, I think he's pretty awesome. He's a pretty awesome character. Okay, so now let's move on to Red Hood. Now, if you guys don't know who Red Hood is, or you don't know, like, because there are technically two Red Hoods. There was the first one, which was the Joker before he became the Joker, and then there was this one. His real name is Jason Todd. He was the second Robin, and basically he became Red Hood after falling to the Lazarus Pits. Sometimes that's the story. Sometimes it's another thing. I believe, like, it's a reality-changing bubble. It's a long story, but basically, yeah, he was basically revived from the dead after he was killed by the Joker, and he became a bad guy, basically a mercenary, or maybe not a mercenary, but he's basically an assassin, and he's basically Robin gone wrong. So yeah, he's the Red Hood now as an adult. So when it comes to the weapons he carries, he does carry different types of guns, and I believe some knives as well, you know, just for close range if he really wants to, if he really feels he needs to. But he also does have some access to some of Batman's weapons, or at least like Batman grade weapons, which I think is really cool. Obviously, he wouldn't have all of them without prep time, because he doesn't always use all of them, but still, I'm assuming you would carry some of them just for further, you know, defense and just for further versatility. He also has his own, I believe they're called like all blades. I don't really know exactly what they are, but they're still, I'm assuming they add to his deadliness. You know, they give, I believe there's something that he can throw, like kind of like a batarang. But the point is, he does have them. I might be getting that wrong, but he does have them, and it does just add to his deadliness and his versatility, which is pretty cool. When it comes to his armor, he does wear a bulletproof suit of armor, and in fact, even his helmet is covered by armor, because it's not a hood, it's actually a helmet, and it has been shown to be resistant to most weapons, so that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. So he's pretty much covered head to toe in armor, and he does carry, obviously, a lot of weapons with him. When it comes to how strong he is, he has been said to be at peak physical condition, just like Batman, so he does have exceptional strength, speed, durability, stamina, everything like that. He is still extremely, extremely strong, you know, for a human's sake, and has been shown to go up against many Masters of Combat in the past, including Batman and Ra's al Ghul and other characters like that. Other members of the Batman family, like Nightwing and Tim Drake, who have also been trained by Batman. And in fact, what Red Hood decided to do is he decided to travel the world and even learn how to work many different weapons, because Batman didn't teach him everything about weapons, and also different martial arts that Batman didn't teach him. So that's pretty cool. You know, he's been actually taught, like, around the world, like even like the League of Assassins, he's been taught martial arts that Batman didn't even touch on, and he has been said to be a master, like a complete master of half a dozen martial arts, and possibly even more. But the point is, you know, he does know many different martial arts, and it has been shown to be quite exceptional in a lot of them. So that's pretty amazing. That shows that you are very versatile when it comes to your fighting. So yeah, he does obviously, like I said, he does have a lot of durability with him, you know, a lot of armor with him. It's even been shown, I believe, to be tough enough to not only withstand bullets, but also a punch through the wall by Frankenstein, and he has been shown to take on not only Masters of Combat, but also other strong characters, like you know, other strong Batman characters, like Mr. Freeze. I definitely know he's fought, but you know, like other strong Batman characters such as Bane and Killer Croc, you know, his armor is strong enough to take very heavy punches, which is pretty amazing if you ask me. me. Sometimes, kind of like Winter Soldier, he does need to, like, scope out his environment sometimes, because what he likes to do is he likes to analyze his opponent and then really know how to exploit them, and sometimes we have shown that his rage has sometimes gotten in the way when it comes to fighting, and he can sometimes slip up if that's the case, but he has been shown to actually control it more. He's working on it, but yeah, that's one of his biggest weaknesses, his rage, because he is kind of a bit unstable, just a bit, but yeah, so he is extremely deadly. He has taken on many different members of the Batman family and just overall, like, members of the universe. He's even taken on, like, the DC universe. He's taken on Green Arrow before, and I believe he's even beaten Ra's al Ghul in a sword fight. This was under some circumstances, and generally he would not always beat Ra's al Ghul in a sword fight, but he has actually taken him down, like, on at least one occasion, and that's still amazing. You know, he's fought many different masters of combat in the past, and he is obviously, like, a master of combat himself. He is an extremely good fighter, an extremely deadly fighter, and he's not someone you want to mess with on the battlefield. So, trying to figure out who would win between these two, just like the two other fights I've had earlier in this season, it's extremely tough to figure out who would win, and that's what I really like, for two reasons. One of them is because it makes it more interesting, and it means you kind of have to look at it in many different ways, and really analyze everything to know what you're talking about, even though I am not Death Battle, and I don't, like, literally analyze everything, but you guys get what I'm saying. But the other reason I like it is because it creates discussion. It means that there's probably it's not going to be like a lopsided thing where, like, oh, like, everyone knew this person was going to win, Electro versus Electrocutioner. But anyway, so yeah, it's not like something like that when you know, like one person's going to win, like Flash versus Quicksilver or something like that. It means it will create discussion in the comments, and this is just my own opinion. I keep wanting to say that because some of you guys, I'm sure I've told you enough, but I just want to remember that everything I say, like, don't say, oh my god, you're so wrong, you're such an idiot, or anything like that. I guess you can say that if you want, because I can be an idiot for thinking some things, but my point is, this is just my opinion. What I say does not go, essentially. It's not like Death Battle or anything like that, where I'm saying, like, oh, everything I do is correct, you know, because I don't know, like, all the feats or anything like that. I could obviously be getting some information wrong, and if I am, you know, tell me in the comments. But I do like these close fights like this. However, when you really analyze everything, in my personal opinion, I feel that Red Hood would eventually come out on top, and let me please explain why, because I know that there are going to be some of you saying, but, you know, like, Bucky Barnes, you know, he's stronger, he's faster, you know, he can keep up with Captain America, and that is true, but let me please just explain everything first. First of all, when trying to figure out who's a better marksman between the two, it is extremely tough to figure that out, because, technically it has been said before that Red Hood is, like, he has perfect aim, even though he has obviously missed sometimes, but generally when you miss, it's just because, you know, if you hit every single time, the fight's not going to last long, especially if you're not bulletproof. The opponent isn't bulletproof, so if you hit every single time, it's not going to be an interesting fight. But my point is, you know, this guy, he has been said to have perfect aim in the past. And, you know, Winter Soldier has been said to have, like, very, like, extremely accurate aim, near perfect, with many different things, including a gun and a Captain America shield, a shield made of, proto-adamantium. But even if I were to say that these two are pretty much even, the armor difference between the two, not essentially what they're made of, but what they cover, kind of makes it clear which one has a better opening than the other one. Red Hood is completely covered in armor, especially, you know, his helmet. It's like almost invulnerable to most weapons. And obviously his suit, you know, it's heavily armored, it's bulletproof, you know, and he's gone up against fighters who have tried to get through the suit and failed. And even though Winter Soldier's suit is completely bulletproof, it doesn't cover everything, most notably his head, which means that as soon as Red Hood figures that out, he will be aiming for his head, and I believe eventually, because of his marksmanship skills, he will eventually hit it. Or just something else that will, like, maybe something else that's not covered that will slow him down. And, you know, even if Winter Soldier could do the same to him, there's not much opening, if there is any opening at all, for anything that getting past a bullet or a knife or anything like that. And will he hit him on the first try? Will Jason Todd hit Bucky Barnes on the first try? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not, because, you know, Winter Soldier is still extremely fast. He is, for a regular person, he is still extremely fast. But it's still, you know, his extreme marksmanship marksmanship skills, Red Hood's extreme marksmanship skills, I believe he can potentially do it. You know, just especially like his head is wide open, and from what I'm concerned, it's not anything like Nightwing where he's actually survived a blow to the head from a gun. You know, I'm not sure. Like again, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe at least like a few hits at very least would definitely kill him. But that's not my only evidence that I have for saying why I believe Red Hood would win. I also believe he would win just because, believe it or not, when it comes to actually physical stats, they are almost on par. Maybe Winter Soldier does have a bit of an advantage when it comes to physical stats, but remember, Bucky Barnes, to my belief, like it might have been changed in the movies, I'm not exactly sure, but I believe that Winter Soldier does not have the super soldier serum like Captain America. He's not a super soldier. He's just an extremely deadly person that does have exceptional strength, speed, and stamina for a regular person. And that's pretty much the same with Jason Todd, you know, and this is why it's such a close fight. They both have similar weapons, and they both do similar things, you know, they're both extremely strong and fast for a regular person. And remember, Jason Todd has fought Batman before, who essentially, again, does have peak physical condition strength, and speed, and stamina, and everything like that. And essentially what he's doing is he's fighting that guy, like he's fighting a guy that has the same, pretty much the same stats, maybe a bit stronger, but then he's not nearly as skilled as Batman. And remember, Jason Todd, he has stood up, I keep calling him Jason Todd, I don't know why, but Red Hood has stood up against many different Masters of Combat, including Nightwing, Batman, Ra's al Ghul, Tim Drake, and probably others, like Green Arrow. He's gone up against Masters of Combat before. And so yeah, it's hard to say which one has more experience, like combat experience overall, but my point is, this guy is not nearly as skilled as those guys. I'm sorry if some of you disagree, but that's my own opinion, because while he does know some martial arts really, really well, he has been said to be not as skilled as Captain America, and Captain America is only a adept at all that at all those martial arts. And we've seen, like, from Death Battle, you know, it doesn't really compare to someone who has mastered all those martial arts. And this is the same guy who's teaching Red Hood how to do all those things. And Red Hood got extensive training from the League of Assassins and traveling the world. So when it comes to who's more skilled, definitely Red Hood is more skilled. Red Hood knows many more martial arts. He's a master of at least 6 of them, and probably even more. And Winter Soldier, it's hard to say if he's even a complete master at one of them. It's really hard to say. So when it comes to who's actually better when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, definitely Red Hood. It's just that Red Hood does have the armor he has, and when it comes to the weapons, again, it's hard to judge which one has the better weapons because they both carry guns. They both carry handguns and different types of guns and other weapons. But when it comes to versatility, just saying this right now, I believe Red Hood would win, because even though, in the versatility category, because Winter Soldier doesn't have much more than that except for the bionic arm, and I will get to the bionic arm in just a second. But you know, I believe that Red Hood just would overall carry more things with him, like his all blades, or even some batarangs if he has them, you know. And whether or not he did, you know, there's no opening that Winter Soldier can get. Red Hood is just completely covered in armor. Even his helmet, like I said, is resistant to pretty much every weapon, and on the Earth at least. And you know, then we have Winter Soldier, whose head is just wide open, you know, for bullets and everything like that. And I'm sure he does not have the stamina to survive a gunshot straight to the brain. Maybe he does, but I personally don't believe he does. The biggest thing that Winter Soldier has over Red Hood is definitely that bionic arm. That bionic arm is able to punch through metal, is able to throw that shield pretty darn powerful and pretty darn fast. Is it stronger than Red Hood? Absolutely it's stronger than Red Hood. Is it strong enough to get through the armor? Maybe it is. But I can't even say that for sure. And the reason for that is just simply because Red Hood has survived many different feats kind of like that. Like I said, he's been survived being punched through a complete wall by Frankenstein, who's extremely strong. And then we also have the fact that, generally Red Hood does fight regular, but generally he fights fighters. He fights Batman and Ra's al Ghul and, you know, Nightwing and other characters like those. So while he does generally fight Masters of Combat, he has been shown to actually take on other characters, such as Mr. Freeze, many other of Batman's strong enemies. He has been shown to take on characters like those. And someone like Killer Croc, I'm sure, like, from what I remember, he can lift, like, many tons. I'm not exactly sure the exact number, but maybe around, like, I don't know, maybe, 10 at this point. I'm not 100% sure. But the point is, Killer Croc, I'm sure, could probably do more damage than just a bionic arm. Some of you might disagree with me on that, but still, 10 tons is a lot. And even though that is a rough estimate, it is potential that he could actually do more. So yes, I believe that is the biggest advantage that Winter Soldier has over Red Hood, and it might be able to do some damage to him. But when you factor in everything else, it just seems apparent that Red Hood is just more set to win more times than not, even though I believe this is a pretty close fight, because he's better armored. They're both almost the same when it comes to physical stats, with maybe Winter Soldier having the slight advantage in those. And he's just, yeah, like I said, he's more armored. He's just more versatile. And even though they both strategize, it just, like, when you factor both of those out, it just seems that Red Hood is just more skilled, more armored, and more versatile just to take the win for himself. So, in my opinion, the winner is the Red Hood. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I know that I did. If you did enjoy this episode, please give me a like. Comment down below everything you want to say, like maybe stuff I got wrong, stuff you want to correct me on. Comment down what you thought of it, everything like that. And also, comment down what you'd like to see next in Who'd Win and Why. Obviously, when I say next, I don't literally mean next, because I do have other fights to do in this season. There are 7 more fights, so make sure you tune into those when they come out. I'm not sure how often it's going to be, because I do still have school, but I'm going to try to do it, like, as fast as I can. But if I do end up doing it, like, extremely fast, don't expect that to be the same way for the whole season, obviously, because, it's that was just, like, something that I got lucky. That would have been what it is. And if you could subscribe to my channel, guys, that'd be so great. That would really help me out. And, I would love to have you along the ride, to, maybe 300 subscribers, or at least just along the ride. I'd love to have you guys, with me through this journey. It's been amazing, and I know it's only going to get better. So, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. Your view means everything to me. So yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching this. It really means a lot to me. And next time on Who'd Win and Why, we got the Blue Beetle going up against Generator Rex. See you all then.